My talk today is about yourselves, because I really want you to value yourself as a part of this entire technology experience. And my title, although it seems a little bit mathematical or chemical, it's about an equation. Because sometimes I'm accused of being a bit of a cyborg. Well, Ken, you act like a computer. You have no emotion. Everything's always a binary, on or off, ones or zeros, and that kind of thing. But what I like to try to do is place some of the logic about this teaching experience into compartments so that you can make sense of it. So I'm going to refer to this experience today as an equation, not necessarily mathematical, but as an experiential equation. I want to reference a colleague of mine. He's on sabbatical this year, Dr. Todd Horton, and a few years ago, and this will happen to you. You'll be somewhere and someone's maybe they're talking at a conference or perhaps it's in a class and maybe a colleague is saying something, but they'll say something and it'll weld itself in your mind as being meaningful and it connects with something that you're doing. And sure enough, this one particular day, I was starting my graduate studies at the University of Calgary, and I was really swimming in all this theory and and I heard Todd talking to his class and trying to make sense of all the complex information that they were dealing with in terms of curriculum, and teaching strategies, and teaching resources. And he basically boiled down a technique to center yourself into 4 questions. And I have them on this slide. Who am I? Who are you? Why are we here? And where are we going? And every once in a while, I don't know if you've ever looked across the room and you might see me, I might look like I'm in some kind of a diabetic coma or staring off into space. What I often do is I'll take a 60-second time out of whatever I'm doing and I'll reflect on those questions. Because it's, if you really boil it right down or distill it, every class that you teach, anything that you basically do with your students, can connect with that framework. If you address those questions effectively, not with a lot of complexity, but effectively, you can move your class forward in a meaningful manner. It seems oversimplified, but for some of you, I encourage you to try that out. Who am I? Who are you? Where are we? Why are we here? Where are we going? Really, the answers to those guide us in all of our activities. I love the topic of emotion because every one of us, even though we have a lot of diversity in terms of our background, perhaps we've come from different vocations and entered into the teaching profession, or perhaps different universities and teachable subjects, etc. Something that we do share is that we have an emotional quotient or an emotional element. And it's quite different, it's quite unique. Some people are overtly emotional in certain scenarios, others are quite controlled and semi-machine-like or cyborg-like sometimes. But it is something that each of us has a capacity for. It is an emotional dimension. Andy Hargraves is a well-published theorist and researcher in the field of educational change. And that's something that you will have to battle for the rest of your teaching career, and that is reform. They'll go through different governments, and they'll have different curriculum, different ways of assessing and reporting, we'll have different resources thrown at you, textbooks, etc. You'll have different administrators, different teaching colleagues, and heaven forbid if you have ever a clone classroom, because that will never happen. But reform is ubiquitous, and you have to learn to address that. And Andy Hargraves is a guru in that area. He talks a lot about the emotional element of teaching. And unfortunately, a lot of people stereotype emotion as being a sign of weakness. I don't want to get to the fact that I'm emotional when I'm teaching because then someone might think that I'm out of control or that I can't handle stress. But if you look at it in the right light, I think you'll find that emotion is like a universal fuel. It's something that will really energize you in the classroom. You need to learn how to harness that. And today we'll hopefully address that in a bit of a humorous way. We have a lot of natural tendencies. Some people are shy. Some people are overt extroverts. They like to be in social scenarios. I actually took the Myers-Briggs personality inventory, and I am an introvert. I want to be an extrovert, but I am an introvert. I even tried to lie on the inventory, and it scored me as an introvert. I don't know. So help me today. I am quite shy. Those labels I gave you earlier, though, are some kind of generic descriptors of the kinds of roles that people take on either naturally or in a trained fashion. No doubt you're going to be working with colleagues in staff scenarios and taking on different initiatives. The principals will probably ask you to perhaps commandeer a technology initiative, or perhaps help out with literacy or numeracy initiative in your school. You have to work with other people. And you'll quickly discover on any committee and on any group, there will be people who will naturally gravitate to the blocking mode, naturally gravitate to the clarifying mode, and also to the enabling mode. And they're all worthy. You're not a non-winner if you are in any one of those categories by nature. It's healthy if you have a nice balance in terms of that kind of chemistry on your group. If you have all of those traits in one person, perhaps that could be dangerous, because maybe some psychologists would wonder if that's a sign of instability. But really, maybe it's more of a sign of diversity in terms of situational reaction. But today, I'm going to get you to do a little role playing in these categories. The blocking group, section number 1. When that face comes up, I want you to, in a really committed, over-the-top fashion, I want you to use that phrase. And the O part has to be almost like you put your back on it. It's not like, oh, just like, oh, you can't do that. That'll never work. Okay, can I get it? For the blockers.
Oh, you can't do that. That'll never work.
Just work a little more on the O. Like it's really the clarifiers. Almost like Homer when he sees that duck. Let's see, how does this thing work anyways? Anyway, let me hear.
Let's see, how does this thing work anyways?
Not bad. I think they have some Simpsons fans. My favorite episode is when Homer gained all the weight and got to work at home. Then the enabler group. Okay, I can do this. Let's get started. DJ, come on.
Okay, I can do this. Let's get started.
No more emphasis on okay. That's really a nice spike in the staff room. Someone's good. Oh, I did a report cards again, and the neighbors go, okay, we can do that. Let's get started. Now, to do a little role play. Because part of your experience with technology is that you're going to have to guard yourself against some of these hidden minefields out there. When you walk into that staff room and you're all jacked up about this new piece of technology, hey, I'm going to try my class, and all of a sudden the blockers jump out and they make you feel like a non-winner, and all of a sudden you go back to your class with your tail between your legs. You really have to start to guard yourself and how you feel. So we're going to go through a little scenario now. I had my 11-year-old daughter help me out with some of the names and the words in here, so bear with me. And when your group's image comes up on the screen, again, I want you to use that phrase as an injection into our role communication. I think we should go through this one more time. A few of you are probably multitasking, grocery list, bread, milk, don't go to the beer store, focus on it. So the blocking group, do you remember your phrase? We hear it again? Blocking.
Oh, you can't do that.